Welcome to another episode of eyeBytes. I am your host, Daniel, and with me as always, my good friend, my tech buddy, my co-host, Sajan. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well.
Yeah, how's staying out of trouble?
Staying out of trouble, yes.
Sorry we're a little bit late today. We didn't record an episode in January. Sadly, life is rather busy. I know you have schoolwork. I sadly caught COVID during the holidays, so I was a bit out for the count for the month. And with work keeping me rather busy, so yeah, we were a little bit occupied in the month of January. But we are back a little bit late in February, but we are finally back. Hope you enjoyed your holidays, Saj.
Yeah, my holidays were good. It was pretty laid back, though. Wasn't too busy. I had a lot of schoolwork to do, catching up. Not catching up, but like I had, schoolwork to do. So got busy with that. And I heard that you got COVID. How did that go?
I was a pretty picture on. It wasn't really during the Christmas break. It was more like closer to New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve, I remember waking up, I was fine, and then later that evening, it started hitting me with a sore throat. I felt like I was swallowing sandpaper, and the next day I woke up, I was like, I was not pretty. So that whole weekend of the New Year's, I was literally, I think, half conscious throughout the weekend. I don't remember what happened. I think I watched I spent the weekend listening to a Star Trek marathon, listened to a lot of Star Trek films. But other than that, it took me about 3 or 4 days before I was able to, the worst went over. And then after that, I just took a while for the lingering effects to go away. But now I'm back in shape. My throat's still a bit tickly a little bit though, but for the most part, the worst of the symptoms are gone. And like I said, January, was pretty busy at work and all that stuff. So that's why we weren't able to record an episode. But other than that, any new presents for Christmas this year or?
Oh, for Christmas, I bought myself the Apple Pro Display XDR, which cost me over $7,000.
Yeah, that's
over $6,000.
Yeah, I thought you were crazy about that. I'm like, that's $6,000 for a monitor. Are you nuts?
Man, I'm like, okay. It was first of all, it wasn't a big investment. It wasn't like $6,000. All right, I have $6,000. Throw on and just buy it. I had to go through a lot of trying to figure out how I can buy this thing. But anyway, I got it, and the main reason why I bought it, on Mac OS, when you zoom in, things get blurry for some weird reason. I called Apple Accessibility, and they said, it could be maybe the Retina display, and it's not sharp enough and stuff. I'm like, okay. So I had a 32-inch monitor, a 1080p ViewSonic, and it was pretty good. But every time I zoomed in, it got really, really blurry, and I could not see anything when I'm trying to edit stuff. It's just not ideal. And then I'm like, okay, let me go buy a 4K monitor. And I hopped on Amazon and I bought something which made a big difference. I'm like, okay, wait, Apple has a 6K monitor. Will that improve it more, right? If it can improve it, why not, right? Less strain on my eyes. And I bought, so I returned that one and I bought this one, and yeah, it has fixed my problem. And
that's good. Well, at $6,000, we'd hope that would fix your problem.
Yes.
Yes. How many? What's the resolution on those? Like what? 6K? I think
6K. Yeah, it's 6K. It has 1,000 peak brightness, and it's a peak brightness, and 1,600 peak brightness and 1,000 sustained brightness.
Wow,
across the whole monitor. So yeah, you can sit here and get blinded. So this is like looking at a sun.
Wow, I can imagine. Yeah, well, I can imagine with your low vision that it's got to be helpful to have as high of a resolution as possible. So when you zoom into stuff, it's easier for you on the eyes to be able to look at it and not have to strain your eyes too much.
Right.
But other than that, any new other? I heard you buy yourself a new webcam, the cam that goes on top of it as well, that magnetic. How's that working out?
Oh yes, the Logitech
Brio, right?
Brio, yeah, it's called a Brio, but they don't call it a Brio for the Mac. It's the same thing as the Brio, but a different stand, which is magnetized, like you mentioned, magnetizes on top of the monitor, and it's a nice. It's pretty strong. I thought it would, like, every time I adjust it up and down, the magnet it would unmagnetize is that a word? Off the monitor, and No, it stays, and
That's good.
it's awesome.
See, it's the same camera. I've got the same one. I bought that last year, the Brio, but it's got the clamps you can put on your monitor. You can also take the clamp off. I've been thinking about you putting on one of my boom arms. I've got a condenser mic here with a boom arm. I was going to think, I can probably take the mic off of that and put the camera on that. But I'm like, I want to keep the condenser mic nearby if I ever want to use it. And that way I just keep clamping on my monitor every time I need to use it. And when I'm done, I take off the camera and just put it aside. But no, it's been pretty uneventful. Now, the one thing I have to say, I did buy one thing during the holidays, and you already know what it is, but I'll let the listeners know. So every episode that we've done on the podcast, I've had a different microphone. So the first episode we did, when it was our intro, I think I was using the Samson Q2U as my first mic,
Yes,
which is a very popular budget-friendly mic. I think Jonathan Mosen recommends that one a lot, and it's a very good microphone, good dynamic, and I loved it. But then in my quest to find a better mic, I had a couple of friends of mine who are musicians, and they said, "Oh, go for the Shure SM58. It's a great rugged mic. It will last you forever." So that's what I bought. And on episode number 2, that's the microphone I was using when we did the episode with our friend Samantha. I was using that SM58. And I know that's the microphone you're currently using right now. But you know what? I wasn't quite pleased. I still wanted to get something that was going to last me forever. And plus, to be honest with you, I wanted to get a mic that was better than yours. So I can be, my sound is better than yours. So I actually spent a bit of time, looked around, shopped on YouTube to see what, reviews. And I ended up buying, it was a toss up between the Shure SM7B or, and this is one I actually found out through, I think it was Sweetwater. They're a music store in the United States and they have a YouTube channel. And I ended up buying the Electro Voice RE20. Now, this is a very expensive microphone. This is probably going to be the last one. I don't want to say it's nowhere near the price tag of your monitor. I think it was close to like $600, but it is a broadcasting microphone. And for those of you who are wondering what it looks like, if ever you've seen the show Frasier with Kelsey Grammer, that is the microphone he uses when he's doing his radio show. And it's hefty. It's a very big microphone. It actually, thankfully, fits on my boom arm, and my boom arm can support it. And it sounds really good, I have to admit. I figured for the price tag I paid for it, it better work fine. And it sounds better than my SM58 ever did. So this is probably the last microphone I'm ever going to buy because it's getting expensive buying audio equipment. Was that?
He says probably.
Yeah, probably. No, it's... Well, there's also the SM7B, but I'm like, you know what? I kind of like my RE20. It sounds really good. So yeah, if I sound a little bit weirder or I sound better than I did, like you probably noticed, first episode I sounded fine. Yes. Second, I was a little bit better, and now I'm sounding way better. I'm like, that's why, because it's like I wasn't using the same microphone for each of the episodes. But I promise you, this is the last microphone I'm buying because it's not a cheap mic. But I want to make sure that I sound professional, I sound good. So that's why for me it's an investment. So like your monitor, for me this microphone's an investment. So yeah, that was pretty much what we did during the holidays. So now let's get into this. The first thing that we wanted to bring up.
Before you do.
Yeah.
I was also going to mention that I bought a few accessories for my drone.
Wow, what did you buy?
Well, because I was looking at the regulations and stuff here, and they're like, "Oh, if you're gonna fly it at night, you need to put a strobe on it." And then I started looking at other accessories for the drone, and I found something. It's called like an iPhone hood, which attaches to the back of the phone.
Okay.
Not the phone, but the back of the controller, and it actually provides shade on your phone. So when you're flying, you can actually see something on your phone. When you're trying to fly in a bright light, you can't see anything on your phone, just fingerprints. And you can wipe that thing how much you want, but then the thing is you kind of have to tap around the phone to like move your drone. Mm-hmm. And this will cover up the sun, provide shade to the phone, and I can actually see something on the phone. And it also came with the lanyard, so I can put it around my neck,
nice.
Which is awesome. So yeah.
Oh, you ever told me about this one?
No, this is new.
Wow. Okay.
It's recent, actually. That's why.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll start. First thing on our list we want to talk about. So iOS 15.3 came out during, I think, about January, I believe, or was it February? Beginning of February, I think, right?
February.
Yeah, this was the reason why we bring it up is because it had a pretty significant update, security patch for Safari, I believe. Not too sure the detail. I think it could see some information, I think.
Yeah, you could. People could. There was like I think there's some sort of exploit that was.
From what I read online, it says it's Safari bug that leaks user history and Google ID, apparently. That's what I found online, but this actually resolved that issue. So I know that in the meantime, they've had 15.3.1 that came out recently as well. But yeah, for anybody using an iPhone, I would recommend highly that you update. Make sure you keep your phone up to date, whether it's an Android or a iPhone. You always want to make sure that you keep these updates as much as possible, because they not only that they update the operating system, but they also make sure that you have security patches and repairs or fixes vulnerabilities that are found in any operating system. So yeah, it's always a good thing to keep your things up to date. So I'm guessing you've updated your phone to that one now. You're on the beta, actually, I think. So you're probably on 15.4.
I'm running iOS 15.4 betas, but we'll get into that in the next.
Yeah, well, that's
a lot more features.
That's when you have a beta, I always say that's at your own risk. For me, I'd rather not put any betas on my devices, because these are daily drivers. I don't want to run the risk of having any bugs or issues. So that's why if you have an extra phone and you feel courageous enough to do a beta, go right ahead. But for your daily driver, I strongly recommend you do not put a beta on your. Or if you want to do it, fine. Just do it at your own risk. So
exactly, don't do it. Yeah, exactly. Because once I had my iPad Pro, I had it on that, and then at school, luckily it happened after the last class. The iPad got stuck on a boot loop.
Yeah, it sucked. That's the problem with betas. You just never know what might happen. So I say, if you have an extra device, it's great to put it on there, because again, you're not relying on this extra device. So if you put a beta on there and you have a problem or issues or it crashes, then that's fine. You're not you're not out of luck. Your daily, if you have like for me, I only have the one iPhone personally, and I'm not courageous enough to put a beta on there, because for me, if this goes out of whack, I'm kind of out of luck. So yeah, do it at your own risk.
Because I have backup iPhones, that's why I do it. And also, the reason why I don't like putting it on spare phones instead of putting it on my daily driver is because I'm using all the features, right? And then if I find a bug somewhere, I can report that to Apple. Because I'm not using that other phone daily, I could miss a few things. That's why I'd like to put it up there, but that's why I have a spare phone. If
you're a lot more courageous,
I can just swap my SIM card out and.
You're a lot more courageous, because I would not have the courage to do that on my daily driver.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's not for everyone. So.
Yeah. So, and all right, next on the chopping block, we have something that I brought up as well. I was listening to a podcast and about the rumored Apple AR/VR goggles. Now, I know that this is something that was rumored to be brought up at WWDC this year. From what I've been able to read, it looks like because of development issues or challenges, it looks like it might not be announced until later this year, maybe even next year. I know it's not the first time they bring this up. Like it's been talked about, like the AirPad, whatever they had, that charging pad that you can put all your devices no matter how you want it on it, and it would charge no problem. AirPower, exactly. So the fabled AirPower. I believe you also had the car that it's been rumored for so many years, and I know there's people working on that, or I don't know what exactly they're doing.
But Project Titan. It's called Project.
Yeah, Titan. Project Titan. Yeah, and this is another thing that it's rumored. I think if I were to look at all three, I would believe that the AR goggles are probably going to be the next thing that actually is probably going to come to fruition. But when is this thing going to come out? I can guarantee you that this is not going to be for the generic consumers, because I'm sure this is going to have a pretty hefty price tag of like over $1,000, probably $2,000-$3,000.
You said 3,000, yeah.
Yeah, so definitely not for your average person. It's going to be for those uber Apple fanatics who are pretty much, love the Apple products and want to play around with the latest and greatest. Right. And so, hey, for them, if they want to try it out, go right ahead. I'm not forking out $3,000 for a pair of AR goggles. Even if I had vision, I would not fork out that kind of money. But, to each his own.
When the Apple Watch first came out, I didn't buy the first generation, right? I actually waited until the SE came out, I think after the fourth generation. Well, first it was really cool. I really wanted one, but I just didn't feel that, okay, I need it now. And I wanted them to actually perfect it first. It was relying on the iPhone a lot, and it's very slow, which I think that's what's going to happen with AR glasses, right?
Well, yeah, it's something new.
It's something new. Exactly. So I don't want to buy the whole thing first, but I will say one thing that out of any other company who's like developing these AR headsets and stuff, I have I'm a pretty 100% sure that there will be something called voiceover built into them, so we can even use it, right?
Yeah, I'm sure that they're going to make sure accessibility is built in. I'm not surprised. A lot of the mainstream companies like Google and Apple, you're pretty big on accessibility, and I'm pretty certain that it's going to have it. But again, the price tag, it's going to be. It's going to be there for a select few who can afford it. Most people will not be able to afford it. Most people will say, that's too high of a price tag. I don't want to spend that much money, which I don't blame them. I still haven't bought a pair of AirPods Max because I'm not forking out $900 for a pair of studio headphones. I'm waiting for them to drop down in price. And I've got a couple of gift cards, so I'm going to use that when the price ever comes down. So there's some great things that Apple comes out with or Google, but sometimes the price tag is just a bit too steep and I'm not willing to spend that much money. So we'll see when they, hopefully this year or next year they'll announce these goggles. I look forward to seeing what they're going to come. It's not because it's Apple. It's because I kind of see the potential of what this might bring to the future. It's I don't know. For me, I'm looking forward to what could come out of these glasses. Augmented reality. It might change a lot of stuff in our lives. We don't know, but we'll see.
Yeah, actually, I agree with you because I've also heard that they're also working on AR glasses, which
that's what this is. This is what it is, like the AR/VR. I think it's gonna be more AR goggles. But
there's AR glasses that actually look like actual glasses, but these are like goggles. They're like,
really?
Yeah. These are like they have like displays inside them.
Yeah, I would have thought that they would have glasses. The glasses would have the lens and everything that you could see.
Yeah, those are coming later.
Oh, I just thought it was one product. I didn't think it was like two different things.
No, there are two different things.
Oh my goodness! Wow. Okay, I just thought it was like AR goggles would be like AR glasses, and that's it. Like there's the one product, and that's it. But wow. But I've also heard that apparently the next big thing that Apple comes out with, once they release this new thing, that Tim Cook is stepping down as CEO. That he's waiting for the next big thing to be released from Apple before he steps down. Which is I'm like, okay, that's kind of weird. But I think he's been working there for how many years now? He's been CEO for quite a while. I want to say 6, 7, maybe 8 years since Steve Jobs passed away. And he's definitely been a good CEO, definitely more on the business side. If he does step down, it'll be sad. I'm curious to know who they'd bring to take his place. I hope it'd be kind of cool if they brought Craig Federighi because I do like his hair.
Oh yeah, same here.
He's always like, I think there was a meme for about Federighi's hair a while back ago, or I think he had his own Twitter account or something. His hair has his own Twitter account. I was like, that's interesting. But so we'll keep our eyes, keep our ears open to see what happens. I think WWDC they have an event coming out in March 8th, I think, where I think they're going to be talking about maybe a new Macs and new iPads. Mm-hmm. And then June is usually around when WWDC comes around.
If they come with an iPad, Mac Mini, I'm going to buy that one.
I'm not. I don't have a need for a Mac, man. I'm like, I had a Mac for a while.
It's not for me. It's for the whole family.
Okay. You're generous.
Yeah, we're gonna test.
Want to buy me a Mac Mini? Feel free to send me one too, if you in case. Just saying. All right, so next on our list we have here. So sadly, during our hiatus, BlackBerry is dead. As of January 4th, all BlackBerry devices running the operating system. Yeah, so it won't, any smartphone, a BlackBerry that running the OS won't work for text messaging, phone calls, emergency, all that stuff. So yeah, BlackBerry is literally gone, which is sad because I know that they started them and Palm, they were the big companies who started smartphones back in the day. I remember working at one of my jobs. People had old style BlackBerries. I'm like, wow, those are really kind of cool with a keyboard and everything.
You're talking about that one?
And they're a Canadian company too, I think. So sadly,
I actually have one right over here with the scroll wheel.
Yeah, I remember those.
With the keyboard with like the bigger, it's because it was more wide in your hand. Because it had to fit all the keyboard inside and the little scroll wheel, the little ball on the top.
I remember
I love spinning that thing.
There was a BlackBerry Bold. That was the one I remember when I used to when I was working where I worked, we had a lot of BlackBerries, and my boss actually had a BlackBerry Bold. It was a very beautiful, like the back was nice and leather. I was like, I want one of these, and I was supposed to get a BlackBerry Torch. But that's when I, lost my vision. I had to go on medical leave for a while. So yeah, unfortunately, I never had the opportunity of getting a BlackBerry. But I ended up getting an iPhone. So I know that BlackBerries and the Palm Pilots were like the great grandfather to the current model, current modern smartphone. And I know back when Apple announced the iPhone in 2007, and then came out with the 3GS in 2009 and then they had voice. That was the first time they had voiceover announced. That's when the blind community were able to start using these devices and play around. Like for me, my first was a 4S, so I didn't have a chance to play with the older devices. I did see when I had Vision, I did have friends who had the original iPhone. It was a very beautiful phone. It didn't do much, but it was still a beautiful phone. And now compared to today, bye to BlackBerry. You will be missed. It's a shame that they're dead, but you know what? They are definitely some of the foundation of today's smartphones. If it wasn't for them,
I still have the BlackBerry belt loop.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
Not the belt loop, like it's like a belt case that you just clip onto your belt, and then the little flap opens with magnet. With
I had the leather holster for the BlackBerry Torch. When I knew I'm gonna get one, I'm gonna go buy one. I was gonna go buy it at my cell provider, and it was like $50. I'm like, that's too much. And I looked on Amazon, it was like $12 for the same bloody case. I'm like, I'm gonna buy it here. So I ended up buying it from there. And then all of a sudden, oh yeah, that's when I left on medical leave. I'm like, I'm not getting the Torch. I'm like, oh man, I bought a holder for it. What am I gonna do with the holder? So it's like, oh well, I sold my holder and got rid of it. But I'm like, I came this close to getting a BlackBerry, but well. So another thing that we have, again, something else that took place during hiatus was CES in January. Now, CES, I heard like the big highlight was, I think BMW or Bentley had a car that changed color, which was rather interesting. I was like, wow, that's kind of cool. I know. Did you hear about that?
Oh yes. That thing was so cool. Watching the videos on how the color car, just changes colors, and this person was talking to the person who was like, showing off the car, and there were some gaps in it, which is, come on now, it's a prototype. It wasn't meant to be on the streets.
Yeah, they're concept cars. Those are probably never going to see the light of day, or
right. But that was like watching that thing just change colors slightly. It was like, whoa. Seeing that on the streets would have been more cool. But yeah, I mean, I don't think we'll ever see that. But
no. But also
I wonder how like the scratches.
Yeah, that's something. If you get into, like, what happens if you get into an accident and like the front fender, the front of the car gets destroyed? How much is it to replace those panels that change color? That's got to be see, that's great technology. We got to think of the what if this happens? It's how much is it going to cost to replace those panels? It's not going to be cheap. That's why I think it was more of a concept car, and just see what could be. And I know a lot of times I've seen.
Yes, I think CES is basically to see what can we do with technology.
Yeah, exactly.
How can we push technology to?
Here's a perfect example. I was reading up on this the other day, and I heard of. I think it's called Mojo Vision. They have smart contact lenses, which are like goggles, but you put them, it's like contact lenses, you put over, and you have like an LED light screen on there. I don't know exactly what they do. I think from what I've heard, they're focusing mainly on the sports industry. I'm not too sure, but I don't know. I just like, wow, like we heard of glasses, but I never heard of contact lens. I'm like, that is interesting.
That is,
I think it's called MOJO, I think. And it's like, oh, interesting. Okay. So yeah, it's I think it was like a couple of years back they were there, and they were still like kind of prototypes. And I think this year they were still kind of prototypes. They weren't like, ready to be mass produced, but still like interesting that, some companies are actually overlooking glasses and going straight to contact lens. I'm like, that'd be interesting. But there was that. Let's see what else was there here.
I saw this thing for cats. I don't know if you saw this.
Cats?
Yeah, for cats. It's like this smart. It's like this smart house thing for the cats, and it has their food bowl. If it gets empty, you get an alert on your phone saying, "Hey, the cat ate the whole thing. You may want to refill it for the cat."
Wow.
It would, if it like goes to the washroom, it like cleans itself somehow.
Wow.
And while it's on the washroom, doing its thing, it also weighs the cat. So,
oh my goodness, wow.
Yeah, and then there was like a mini fountain for the cat to drink water from. So it was this whole thing. If I find the link, I'll send it to you.
Yeah, I remember seeing something, it was a while back, many years ago. It was this type of bowl system that it was like a smart bowl, and if you had like multiple pets and they had different diets, you could actually add, I think, to their collar. I think it was either the collar itself, or you could add it to the collar. And when they walked up to their food bowls, only the lid, like all the bowls had lids, and when they walked up to their bowl, the lid would lift up and only allow them to eat their food. And if if you had a cat and a dog, and the cat walked up to the dog's bowl, it wouldn't open. It would only open their bowl. And when a dog walked up to their bowl, then their bowl would open, but not the cat's bowl. And I was like, that's actually kind of intriguing. That if it's good for when you have multiple pets. You don't want them to cat to eat dog food and dog food to eat the cat food.
Right.
They might get sick or something. So, but yeah, it's technology is pretty incredible the way it's moving. But there's also, I think I just also read, it was like TCL, which is a big TV maker. I think they have smart glasses as well. So yeah, smart wearables are pretty much popular nowadays. It's pretty interesting.
There was one I found, I think it was rock climbing or biking or something. There was this exercise machine, and it uses like the projector, and it will like show you how to do things. And if you're not doing it correctly, because it has all cameras all the way around, it will teach you how to move your arms, put your everything.
Wow,
to increase your strength. So it was pretty cool.
There's also another thing I saw. They were replace your little sticky notes with LED, LCD, or they were. Yeah, LCD tablets. I'm like, what? So basically, you have these little LCD panels that will replace sticky notes. Like, I don't know if you ever saw these. So most of the time in office supplies, you have these little white, yellow sheets of paper that have a little sticky strip at the top. So some companies are actually looking at replacing that with LCD little panels. I'm like, oh my goodness, really?
But because instead of wasting paper, they're trying to so you can put these small little stickies all over your desk. Some people like having, mini stickies all around their desk. But now with these, now you can go actually erase them and you reuse them. Like,
you already have a phone.
Which I get it. You have I know. You have a phone. That's where I wish the phone actually has like pen support, like the Android does. Or Samsung phones do. The S Pen. Some people really love that, right? Like for the iPads, which kind of make more sense to me. Like use an iPad for that because you have a bigger canvas to work with. Throw the Apple Pencil on there and like have your notes. But I guess some people just like to have notes always just there in front of them, and when they just flip. When they don't want to use them again, just throw the note out or whatever.
I just saw that yesterday. I was like, interesting. Little LCD screens for sticky notes, interesting. But again, like CS is all just what could be, what potential, the potential of technology, what we could do in the future, and having like smart contacts, smart glasses, and little LCD sticky notes. That's kind of interesting.
Right. There's a notebook that they made like that.
Oh yeah, it's. I don't know. I'm always impressed.
Have you seen this erasable notebook where you put it in your microwave and it clears itself out?
No.
You haven't seen this? It's actually you can buy one right now from Amazon.
Wow.
It's a notebook. You write your note in it. I think it has like a special pen that it comes with. And when you're done, when you fill up the book and you don't need the notes anymore, you put it in the microwave for like a minute and it clears up the thing.
My boss actually, he uses this special binder. I'm struggling on the name, but apparently they got markers on the page and you can write, cursive and everything. And then you can take your phone and take a snapshot. It'll upload it to Google Drive. It'll index the text. It'll do OCR on the cursive writing. Or your handwriting, it'll do cursive and it'll upload to Google Drive. It'll index all the text so that way you can search and find your notes. They even have these little, I'm struggling on the name, but you can also add these, they sell separately these little add-ons you can add to a whiteboard and do the same thing with a whiteboard. And they're just basically little markers that the camera uses to kind of, I guess, focus on the text and OCR it. Scan OCR it and then upload it. And like this is today. You can buy this stuff today. I'm like, wow, okay. Like if I had my vision, this would be kind of cool to take my notes by hand. You could put diagrams and everything, draw it on the piece of paper or this reusable paper, and then you just take a photo and boom, it just uploads it to Google Drive, does the indexing, OCR, and everything. I was like, wow, that's actually where was this when I was in high school or college, man? It'd be kind of cool to have this stuff.
There was one app that I found that. I think the actual company, what a sticky notes actually made, where you can just take your camera and you take a picture of your actual sticky notes, and it will convert your handwriting into text.
I don't think you'd recognize my handwriting. My handwriting is terrible. But
you need to have a clean handwriting for that to work properly.
Yeah. So, but we're talking earlier about the S Pen. Also, something else that took place recently is Samsung had an event. and they announced 3 new phones: the S22, the S22 Plus, and the S22 Ultra. Which, from what I've been able to understand from other podcasters, is that it looks like the Note is no longer going to be, like, they're not doing the Note anymore. Yeah, so the Ultra is replacing the Note. I think they also came out with 3 new tablets. They have, I think, the Galaxy Tab S8, the S8 Plus, and the S8 Ultra. So I don't know. I've yet to see reviews from people about the. I know some people have gotten their hands on these phones and tablets. I think Mobile Syrup. It's a Canadian blog. I read a lot. I think they did they kind of talked about the S20, the new phones and the new tablets. I haven't seen any in-depth reviews yet. I haven't looked heavily into that yet, but no, it's interesting what Samsung is doing. Like, I have an S20 Fan Edition, and it's kind of nice. It's nice and bulky. It's got a nice size to it, and the cameras are pretty good. So I don't know. I'd love to get my hands on one of these to see how they, how are they with talkback? Are they snappy and responsive? And it'd be kind of fun to be able to play with the S Pen as well. I know the Ultra has the S Pen built in. It'd be kind of nice to be able to play with that. So I think even the tablets, the Tab S8s have the pen as well. I think the Ultra might come with the pen. I'm not too sure which one comes with it, which one doesn't.
I think the Ultra comes with a pen.
Yeah, so it'd be and apparently the tablet version of the pen is a lot bigger than the phone version of the pen. So yeah, I'm always interested to see what other companies come up with, because obviously, competition breeds innovation. Having Apple always, it's not the greatest, but if you have like Google, Apple, and Samsung and Microsoft always competing, it helps everybody improve their game and step up their game and make it better. So yeah, it was pretty cool seeing those new phones. Unfortunately, Apple, having brought the price tag of an average smartphone to over $1,000, a lot of these companies are doing the same thing. I heard when Apple took the headphone jack away, Samsung was mocking them. And what did they do? They took the headphone jack away. They mocked, they mocked the notch, and and then what did they do? They put a notch on their phones. It's like,
same with the chargers, right?
Why are you taking off the brick? I'm like, and Samsung took it off.
Our phone, ours actually includes one, right? And the next
and then sometime later they take it off. It's like I understand that. For me, okay, yeah, for eco-friendly, they want to make sure that they don't have too much waste, but it's like, I don't know. Me, it's like, if you're going to do fast charging on some of these phones, you better, I don't know if the S22s, if they have, I would assume they probably have the charging bricks. I'm not too sure.
Oh, I think so.
Don't quote us on this. Like I said, we're not professionals in any sense of the word. We do little research on this. I just glimpse on some of the articles I read, and I don't memorize them or anything like that. So yeah, we don't quote us on anything. But I would hope that they if you have fast charging, that they should at least include the fast charging brick. That way you don't have to hunt and buy it separately. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about not including the charging bricks. I know I've got plenty of the 5-watt charging bricks I got from my phones or other devices. I'm like, you know what? I use those, and that's about it. But well.
That's why I like to just buy one hub that has like 4, 5, 6 ports, and just plug that in my wall and just keep using that. But then for traveling, you need something smaller.
Yeah,
I think Anchor makes something awesome.
Yeah, the Nano. I think it's an 18. I bought an 18-watt charger. It's the size of the 5-watt little charging brick, a little cube that Apple makes. And it's about the same size, but it's a USB-C connection, and I think it does 18 watt. I love that little thing. I have it in my backpack whenever I go out somewhere. I always have that little charging brick, and I've got the cable to go with it. It's
I'm
great.
looking to get this U-Green one. It has 4 ports. It has 1 USB A and 3 USB-C ports, and that one it's 100 watts. I wanted to just keep that in my backpack.
100 watts?
100 watts, yeah.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
And
I'm surprised you're not. Could you throw
it's like an iPad charger. You know those 12-watt chargers?
Could you throw an egg on that and cook breakfast with it, or?
It doesn't get hot that much because it doesn't. What is it called? They use this new GaN technology. I don't know if you heard of that one.
Gallium something nitrate.
Gallium nitrate, whatever it's called. I don't know. Gallium nitrate. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Gallium,
I think the Anchor one I've got is the same thing. It's a GaN charger, but it's pretty incredible what these little things can do. Like, I love it. I think it was like 30 or 40 Canadian dollars. I'm not too sure what the price tag was at the time when I bought it, but it's a pretty good little charger. All right, the next on our list we have in-app purchases. I think you brought this up.
Yeah, so I was wondering, what do you think of Apple charging 40% or 30% on these in-app purchases. I know. Well, I will start off saying that I know that Apple built a store, right? Apple built a store, and these developers are putting their apps on this store. Without this store, those apps will not be, discoverable from other users, right? Is 30% too much to you? Do you think?
I personally think it is. Like for me, I don't develop an app. I'm not a developer, so I can't really speak on behalf of them. But I think 30. Like I get it. Apple. It's like they make this shopping mall, and they have all these different storefronts that people can rent and sell their product. And I get that. Yeah, they want to have a little cut. I think 30 is a little bit too much. I think 15% might be more reasonable.
Because they did do something. Where if you make less than $1 million, I think it's a year.
Yeah, you drop it down. What's the percentage
15%.
15?
Yeah, 15%.
That's not so bad. Yeah, it's.
And then if you make more than $1 million, then it's 30 still.
Yeah.
But again, Google does the same thing.
Yeah, well, it's that's the thing is when you look at like the Xbox store and PlayStation and Google, it's all 30%. They all charge a 30% cut on all purchases. So it's the norm or the standard in the industry. Apparently,
it is.
Like I said, I'm not in that industry, so I don't know. I still think 30% is a bit too high, but I don't know. I don't know. What do you think about that? You?
I mean, I had something in my mind, but before I brought this thing up, but I forgot it now because we haven't recorded in a while. But I should have put notes. But anyway, so I personally think 30% is a little bit too much. I think maybe I think 15%. Put it in somewhere in the middle ground of 20%. 20% is I think is fine. I mean, I'm not a developer. I don't own the store, so I don't know. Yeah. But 20% I think should be good. It should be 20%. That way it's like an equal ground from both parties.
Yeah, it's not like Apple can't afford it. How much? What are they worth now? Over $3 trillion now?
Yes, $3 trillion.
So it's like they couldn't afford it.
I'm not targeting just Apple. I'm targeting all of the stores, right? I'm saying Sony's store. I'm saying Google's store. But then there's something else going on. I want to put it the same topic here, is the side loading.
Yeah.
Should you allow other... Epic. Epic has their own store, right? Epic has their own store.
Yeah, that's
another kind of worms. Apple does not allow third-party stores on iOS, but they allow third-party stores on macOS.
Yeah, you know what? So I've listened to a lot of podcasts and read for me the whole Epic Apple thing. I'm sorry, Epic to me is a bunch of crybabies. Boo-hoo, we're losing money on that. It's like, no, come on. These are the rules. You obey the rules, and that's it. Side loading, I think what they should do is do exactly like macOS. Give the user the option to enable that if they want to. You can have the default setting being only within the Apple the App Store, but give the user the choice. To say, you know what? No, I want to open the gate. What's that feature in Mac? Is it gate something? There's a feature in Mac that you can go and change the level of security for the App Store if you want to have external apps or only internal. And I think it's gateway. I think I want to call it. I'm not too sure. But yeah, for me, I would think it'd be better if Apple does that. Just give the user the choice to enable it. They can leave the setting by default to say only apps from the App Store, but give the user the choice to say, you know what? No, for more advanced users who are willing to take the risk, give them that option to enable that setting and say, you know what? I want to accept apps from outside the App Store. I think that would solve a lot more problems if they allowed that instead of being, no, we only allow apps. Like I can understand why they want to trying to keep people in the App Store itself, because one, for me, when I'm looking for an app, I don't know, I'm always afraid that you're going to get some garbage. And as good as Apple can be to try to keep an eye open on apps that are coming into the App Store, they're not perfect. Some apps are going to make their way through. Going to for example, Wordle. That's a big game, and a lot of Wordle clones were on the App Store, and Apple decided to cut them all off, which I think is a good thing because they were just there to the original game was free, and then here's companies bringing in and saying, oh yeah, we're Wordle, and we're going to charge you a subscription fee, and to me, I don't think that's wrong. I'm glad Apple cut those off, right. But I can understand wanting to have knowledge that anything you download here is secure. It's been
Which
vetted.
I think when you brought up the point of, hey, we'll put a switch in the settings app. If you wanted to install it, there you go. Now you have it, right?
Yeah.
Not that many people will know about it. Like average consumers will not know.
Which is fine, but those who are really techie
which
who want
is fine. I think only the techie people really want this option, not average consumers. And what I'm also kind of afraid of is there's still a lot of things out there on YouTube and say, hey, how to download, this. Or how can I make my phone do these cool little things?
Yeah.
But then people watch those YouTube videos and they try to follow the steps, and now they're hacked.
Yeah.
That can happen, which I think Apple's trying to avoid, prevent.
Well, it's like jailbreaking your phone. You can jailbreak your phone and open it up, but you do that at your own risk. I don't recommend you do it. I don't do it. I tried when I was younger with an iPod Touch, and now with my iPhone, no. I don't want to mess with it. I just want it to work, so I don't play around with those more risky things. But to each your own. If people want to try that out, go right ahead. But you do that at your own risk. I know Google, they do that. They allow only within the App Store, but you do have a method to unlock it in order to allow side loading. But to me, I don't see why Apple can't do that. Just add that option, have it locked by default to say, hey, you know what, we're only allow apps from the App Store. And if people are techie enough and savvy enough and know how to turn that option off so they can go get they can sideload, then you do that at your own risk. But you give the people the option to do that at least. Don't just say, you know what, no, we know better than you. It's better if we keep this locked. I can kind of understand a little bit why they're keeping it locked, but I can also understand the other side of the story saying, no, like give the people the option. Like we buy these things, we own these devices. Now, sadly, we don't own these devices. We're kind of renting them from Apple. We don't really own these devices.
Like all these music services. These are services, right? They're not. We're not owning these things anymore. Yes, we buy them every month. We're basically renting them, right? We're not buying them anymore. We're not like music, TV shows, like Apple TV Plus, Apple Music. You pay every month for it. You don't.
Oh, I buy the films, but I download to my computer, so I have a copy of it.
There you go.
I always want to have a physical. That's why I don't like. I know some people will have Apple Music and they'll download music from Apple Music onto their phones. I don't do that. I go to iTunes, I download it, I buy it, I download it to my phone, I have a copy on my computer, and then I also keep a copy of my whole music library on an external hard drive, so that way if something happens to my PC or my computer, I'm not out of luck, I can actually, I have a copy of my library.
If you really want Apple Music songs, you have to download the music, and then turn your phone on, put your phone on airplane mode, and never connect that phone to internet again, and then cancel your subscription. But you cannot add any more songs to that song.
Yeah, that's the problem.
As soon as you turn on Wi-Fi, it has that phone has internet connection, and it realizes, hey, you don't have Apple Music anymore. Those songs are gone.
Well, for me, the only reason why I have it is because I have HomePods around the house, so I like to have be able to tell, hey, Shlomo, start play this song or play this album or stuff like that. So I like to be able to have that ability to play music around the house, and I don't want to have to worry about. I like most of the time, I'll just tell Shlomo, hey, play my purchase playlist shuffled, and then all the music I bought before on iTunes will just start playing and shuffle. So, but like I said, it's great for us to have that option. At the end of the day, like you buy Apple, you know what you're getting into. It'd be nice if they actually gave us that option, but at the end of the day, it's their choice to make. We don't know. I'm not crazy about it, but I still keep buying iPhones because for me, it's like I just want the thing to work. I don't really care much about. I just want it to work, and for me, it's like I'll stick with Apple for now. But
yeah.
All right. So next on the list we have is Wordle. Has been bought by New York Times. From what I understand. So for those wondering what Wordle is, it was a very popular game that started a little while ago. It was a website you can go to, and you could basically, I think it was a 5-letter word, and you had 6 tries to try to guess the word. And every day you had a different word, and everybody had the same word. So it was not like it was like a sort of a group, a community game you could play, and you could post your scores, and it would tell how many tries before you get. It wouldn't tell people the word. It would just say, well, it took me 5 shots to get this word, to get the word of the day. And it was a great game. I never played it. I know there was some shortcuts you could download from the Apple Shortcuts app to allow you to be able to play it, or I think it was like Google Chrome extension you could add that would actually, because what happens is when you try to guess you put the letters in the 5 spaces, the different spaces will light up different colors depending on whether, I think red means that, this letter does not.
Gray is that it's not showing up. It's like that. That's not the. The nice thing is, it would actually gray out the letter, and it would also gray out the letter on the keyboard, so you don't click it.
Okay.
So that's nice. And then if it's in a wrong, if the character that you selected was actually right, but it's in the wrong spot, it's yellow. But if you get it right, then
it's green, I think.
Yeah, it's green.
Almost like like the lights intersections. Red means stop, yellow means proceed with caution, green means go. So
I wish there was red, but there is no red. But it's just gray.
Yeah, it's I'm happy for them. I think he was doing the gentleman was doing it for free. I think I want to say his name is John Wordle.
Actually, I was listening to MKBHD's podcast. He actually invited him on there.
I'm trying to see if I can find the person's name, but
I can't remember his name, but I know he was on a podcast with MKBHD.
Yeah, I think I want to say it's John Wordle. I'm not too sure.
Yeah,
but I'm happy for the gentleman who did this. Apparently, I heard another podcast. Apparently, it's just a JavaScript with so you can literally save the website with a JavaScript file, and you have Wordle on your computer, and it's still going to work. So I don't know how that works. I haven't experimented with that, but I heard at the Mac Accessibility Roundtable podcast, they actually talked about that you can just download the website and download the JavaScript, and there you go. And Wordle is going to continue working no matter what. So that's great.
I bookmarked the page.
Yeah, I checked the page out. I didn't have the extensions, but I'm like, it doesn't work. I'm like,
it doesn't use the built-in keyboard. There's like a keyboard on the screen that you have to type in.
Yeah, that's what you mentioned. Yeah, it'd be kind of cool if they actually had an iOS version of this. It would go to the site and you could play it through the mobile app. But I don't know. Like New York has it. The New York Times has it now. I think he was given up to like 6-figure amount, so that's definitely over $1 million for sure. But hey, if got some money out of it from New York Times, hey, for two files, the website and the JavaScript file, he was given over $1 million. Like, hey, great for him, man. That's awesome. I think it's like it was like 3 to 5 million. They just say it was a 6-figure amount. I'm like, great. Okay, the guy was given that, and he's for 2 little files that he created. Hey, great. Happy for him.
That's awesome, man. I mean, sometimes you have to do the simplest thing in the world, and then you achieve something really big,
Well, it's fun because I think everybody could play it.
Luck.
Everybody could, I know that once they added that shortcut or that extension for Chrome, blind individuals were able to play it as well, which is kind of fun. And it was like, again, it's one word for everybody. Every day the word changes, but nobody it's not a different word for everybody. It's the same word for everybody and it changes every day. So it was more like a sort of a community type of game. It was kind of fun.
I will mention one thing before you do play it. Don't hop on Twitter or anything, because there will be words.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to play it. To me, it's like
I'm saying our listeners.
Oh yeah,
listeners, if you are willing to play this game, don't go on social media because there will be spoilers out there. So
yeah. So all right. So next on the list, you added AirTag update. I don't know what this is about.
Oh, an AirTag update. Yes, AirTags. So Apple already built this into their software, but they've actually. What it is people are actually trying to locate or use AirTags the wrong way. They're trying to they're trying to put AirTags in people's pockets or purchase cars.
Yeah, stalkers do that.
Stalking. They're basically trying to stalk people down. It is not okay. No. These are not meant to stalk people. These are to find your items like keys or purses or whatever. Don't put them on your...
See, what's frustrates me a lot about this is that Apple's gotten a lot of flack for this. But the thing is, this isn't new.
Trackers out there.
There's other trackers. You have Tile. You have Tracker without the E. There's more advanced GPS beacons or stuff that you can actually... That are far better than the AirTags. So this is not new.
With you, but the problem is, which I understand, is that these are very, very cheap and they work really well.
No, these aren't that cheap. What are you talking about? Like, Tiles and Trackers were more cheaper than this.
No. Yes, they are cheaper. They are cheaper. Tiles are cheaper. Yes, I agree with you. But not many people own them. These things work so well because there's so many Apple devices out there.
Yeah.
Right? tiles. If
Yeah, you had to have a tile and have the app.
Another person in the world has to have a tile around it for it to update the location. Which, if you are on a, like, I think there were people out there who like were tracking other phones, not phones, sorry, other AirTags, and this person was checking the location in his car every 10 minutes or every 5 minutes. There was an iPhone nearby, and it actually updated the location. There's so many iPhones out there in the world, right? And it's not only just iPhones; it's all Apple devices.
Yeah, see,
so don't put then this major update. Basically, I know before, when you, like, let's just say I slipped an AirTag in your pocket without you knowing, and you walk away. And now I can, I can check. I think before every 24 hours, it realized, hey, if the owner wasn't with him for 24 hours, we're gonna start, alerting, started making this beeping noise, and on its phone, we're going to, alert him, say, hey, there's a AirTag near you, someone's trying to follow you. Do you may want to, find it and take out the batteries. And it actually showed you how to remove the batteries.
Well, battery's not that complicated. You unscrew the back part and you pop the battery out, and voila, it's done.
There you go.
It takes less than a minute.
And now there are so many cases that Apple has actually working with police when there are these what do you call them? These cases, they will take them to the police, and Apple will work with them, and they find the serial number, and they locate them with their Apple IDs. Now, I think they should because there will be a problem with these all these years. I will tell you that there will be a problem with these. They should, instead of linking them to your Apple ID, they should be linking to your government ID or something like that.
No.
No. Listen,
not government ID, man.
That way, if people won't do this kind of thing, right?
Oh, people will find a way around this stuff no matter what. It's like I said, Apple's getting a lot of flack over this because they're a popular company. They're in the news a lot, so that's why AirTags, you can be followed. Like, no, I'm sorry, but there are other GPS devices which are far better than AirTags and tiles put together, and so professionals will use better stuff to track people. It's because it's Apple, so that's why it's in the news. But it's like people say, oh, poor. I'm like, no, it's baloney. Come on, tiles. You have other stuff that's far better than this that can be used, and it's just because they're trying to not ruin Apple's credibility, but it's just because Apple's an easy target. They're right there. So I'm sorry, but I just find it so frustrating.
Also mention, when you do set up the AirTag now, it will tell you, hey, don't use these. It's like a little message saying, "Hey, don't
use these for stalking."
Don't use this for stalking. And we are working with.
It's just, I don't know. I just
letting people know, hey, don't do them.
I see this, and I'm like, it just makes me laugh because I'm like, there are far better things out there to track people than AirTags, and because it's Apple. The news and journalists are focusing on Apple. Apple's not doing it. I'm like, it's like, come on, seriously?
There are a lot of things out there what Apple did, and people go after.
Yeah, it's because they're a big company.
Have you ever seen another phone with whenever Apple has bend gate or hiss gate or this gate, that gate?
Yeah,
no other phone had that.
Yeah, Samsung.
Really?
The S7.
Oh, well,
I think the S7 was the one that exploded battery.
Well, that was like a major thing.
Yeah, I think it's because from what I remember from that time, because they tried to make a big battery.
And 7 Plus had a hiss gate where it had the chip was making hissing noises. But anyway,
no, I'm talking about the Samsung Galaxy. I think it was the S7.
Note 7.
Was it the Note 7? I thought it was the S7. But there was one of the Galaxy 7, S phones that, because they made the battery was really large, and they tried to make the phone so thin and the battery was so compressed that it caused the battery to explode. So yeah, that was a pretty bad thing. So
people having explosions in explosions. It was all that whole
not a good thing. Yeah. So it's you don't want to explode your customers' heads. That's kind of a frowned upon. But anyways, I don't know, It's just when I see these stories, focusing on Apple, I'm like, yeah, I get it. Apple's not perfect. They're, sometimes they do things that are not good. I don't like Apple for certain things, but sometimes when I see these articles about, the AirTags, they're using this for stalking, I'm like, you know what? You are aware there are better things out there, GPS trackers, which are far better and far accurate than AirTags are. And yet those people aren't focusing on those. They're focusing on Apple mainly because, it's a big tech company. So I see that. I'm just like, seriously, people, like, get a life. Stop bugging. Stop being stop being jerks. So anyways, so we'll do it for this month. I don't know if you have anything else you want to talk about, Saj, or...
No, I think it was a pretty good episode.
Yeah, so I'm glad. I'm happy that we're back. Again, I do apologize for the delay and the hiatus. We again, like I said, life kept up rather busy, and we will try to do this at least once a month. So hopefully, probably around mid to end of March, we'll come up with another one. But in the meantime, I'm your host Daniel with my co-host Sajandeep. If you want to reach us, you can email us at contact@eyebytes.tech. That is contact@eyebytes.tech. We now have a Twitter account you can follow. You can follow us on Twitter at eyebytespodcast. So that is the @ EYEBYTES podcast. And also we have a YouTube channel. Saj, I will let you talk about this one, but if ever you want to find the YouTube channel, you can find it at eyebytes. That is EYE capital BYTES. You want to make sure you put that capital B because there are apparently 2 other eyebytes channels on YouTube, and I'll let you, Saj, talk more about that.
Yeah, so the eyeBytes podcast will be the eyeBytes YouTube channel will be about technology or some items that I bought from Amazon or other places, and I'll review them over there and how accessible they are, if with how well they work with Apple devices and all of the other things. And I know Daniel is also will also make not only Daniel, I will do too. We'll have individual episodes on the podcast channel talking about different products, and we'll do reviews. I think you're working on one right now.
Yeah, So yeah, like Saj was saying, like we won't just have like these episodes where we're talking about what's new in world of tech. There will be other ones. Like there's one I want to do. It's on a Tefal Opti grill, which is a smart George Foreman grill. It's made by Tefal. Unfortunately, I'm trying to find the right equipment to buy some. I tried buying some lapel mics that just did not work. So I'm looking for stuff to, a way of recording that in the kitchen. So that way you get to hear everything that's going on, all the beeps and the sounds of the grill. So that will be coming up soon as well. So yeah, it's pretty cool about the YouTube channel. Like for those wondering, you'll be responsible for that because I'm not interested in the YouTube
It is
channel.
more visual stuff. And yes, we are not making we're not making this YouTube channel to make a video form of this. Not yet. I don't know if we will ever do that, but just let you know, it's not for that though.
Okay, so yeah, so just look for the name. Make sure you spell it right. It is case sensitive. I was like, when I was looking at that, I'm like, wow, we have here one. I think it was like all lowercase. It was, I think it was German. I'm not sure. There were a couple of gentlemen. I think they were Germans, but it was like, okay, well, somebody already has this name. That's kind of interesting. But so yeah, that will do that for this week. So again, you want to reach us by email, Twitter, and now we have YouTube. You can check out that when Saj starts posting some stuff. And yeah, so on another as well, you can check me out as well on the Accessibility Moving Forward podcast with the big R, Mr. Randy Rusnak. We just recorded an episode yesterday talking about mandolin slicers and the Instant Pots. So that will hopefully be coming out soon. So anything you want to plug, Saj, or?
No, I think that's awesome, man. I mean, we talked about the YouTube channel and you starting another podcast, which I'm very excited
Well, I didn't start another podcast. It's we explained in the last episode that one of the episodes that Randy did before. I think it was number 32 when he talked about his Concept 2 rower. We jokingly said that that episode he was showing how he put a motor on his Concept 2 rower and he was rowing it and using it on the lake and everything. And we jokingly said that how he used that to, he got lost and somehow made its way up north to Canada. And I found him on the shore, and then that's how we met. And he just, we actually met through Clubhouse. So he's like, oh, you should, you should hop on and help me out with the accessibility moving forward. So I've been helping out with that. So it's been a lot of fun, and it's like there's not competition with this one here. eyeBytes is still my number one podcast. It's the one where we started together, but I just could not pass off the opportunity to co-host with a podcast legend, which is Randy. So he is a wonderful man, very funny,
I'm happy for you, man.
weird
I'm
sense
glad.
of humor, but funny anyways. And he's been doing this podcasting gig for so many years.
Very happy for you, man, that you got to do a podcast with someone who you've been listening to for a while, right?
Yeah, I've been listening to him for like at least 10, 15 years. It's been a while since I want to, maybe not that long. Actually, I started listening to podcasts around 2005, but I want to say more around 2011, 2012 is when I started listening to podcasts that were more blind centric. So yeah, it's definitely a lot of fun being able to podcast with him and keep me busy with 2 podcasts now. But so anyway, so we'll end the podcast there. So like I said, you can email us, you can follow us on Twitter, and you can also follow us on YouTube. So yeah, thanks again for listening, and we'll catch you next month. So live long and prosper.
Have a good week.